What's going on, everyone? Vince the Engineer here. Thanks for joining. With the summer heat and humidity approaching, it's time to develop a strategy that will protect your lawn from being ruined by disease and fungus. In this video, I'm going to share my top 5 fungus prevention strategies with you in under 7 minutes that will help your grass stay dark green through the hot, wet summer. So stay tuned. But first, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Please consider subscribing and ring the bell icon to be notified of new content. I upload weekly and love sharing my passion for lawn care with all of you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer every single one. Even if I don't know the answer, I'll do my best to find one for you. Alright, so let's talk about fungus and what we can do to help our lawns out. I recently found a bunch of mushrooms growing in the lawn. Now, mushrooms are not a bad thing. Yes, they are technically a fungus, but not the type we are concerned with. Actually, mushrooms are an indicator for the amount of organic matter in your soil. This high organic content, combined with other environmental conditions such as shade, air temperature, and moisture, cause the mushrooms to develop. But those factors also cause other forms of fungus to form in your lawn, the kind of fungus that could do serious damage. How can we control these factors to help our lawns out and reduce or eliminate fungus from developing? There are a few things, so let's go over them. Starting with watering as our first tip. Many of us water way too much. Some of us are watering 3 times a day, every day. And too much water contributes to the development of fungus and disease. There's a really simple acronym I want to share with you, and it comes from my good friend Travis over at Budget Lawns. Diet. I'll leave a link to a video he did explaining watering, but I really can't say it any better than him. D is for deep, which means to water deep into the ground. You want between a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch each time you water. I is for infrequent, which means to only water 2 times a week or so to get between 1 to 1½ inches of water a week. You want to skip a few days in between watering to allow things to dry out and force the plant roots to search for water, which drives them deeper into the soil. E is for early, which means to water earlier in the day, preferably the morning. Again, this gives the soil some time to dry out throughout the day. When moisture is present in the evenings, you are at an increased risk of developing a fungus. And T is for tuna. You can use a tuna can to measure how much water your sprinkler or irrigation system puts out over time, to give you about a ½ inch of water in each zone. Measure the time it takes to fill the tuna can about halfway for each zone. Then you'll know it takes that much time to water that area. Now, if it rains, adjust your water schedule accordingly to give the soil a chance to dry out before watering again. For tip number 2, it's all about controlling the airflow through the grass canopy and the amount of thatch buildup closer to the soil layer. Increasing airflow is going to help dry things out. Removing the thatch is going to help control the amount of organic material in the lawn. We can accomplish both by dethatching. Dethatching an entire yard by hand is very time consuming and labor intensive. So what I like to use is an electric dethatcher like this one. This makes quick work of it and will not only pick up the thatch, it will help thin the turf out a bit as well to allow for air to flow through. This tip is one I learned from the Pest and Lawn Ninja. I'll leave a link to a video he did recommending more regular dethatching to reduce fungus. Another benefit from dethatching regularly is that you will also pick up the grass blades that have browned out, leaving you with a deeper green looking lawn. Next is a half tip, since we're still on the subject of airflow, and that is to blow it out. If your lawn is moist and not quite drying out, consider using a blower to blow it out in an effort to help speed up that drying process. Tip number 3 would be to keep mowing and consider bagging your clippings. In general, the more you mow, the better. And when disease and fungus are present, collecting the clippings helps reduce the spread, but frequent mowing also prevents the grass from growing too tall and folding over itself. Once the grass starts folding over itself, it traps the moisture and harbors disease, fungus, and even insects, so mow more often. Tip number 4 is an easy one, and that is to consider signing up for alerts on the website called greencastonline.com. When you sign up and give them your location, you'll receive alerts when conditions are optimal in your area for certain fungus, diseases, weeds, and pests. They even recommend products and advice to help you prevent these issues. If you have any fungus or disease preventative tips that have been successful for you, please leave a comment down below so other viewers can benefit. Now, if you are unsuccessful with keeping things relatively dry using the tips mentioned so far, or you've had long periods of wet weather or you've started seeing fungus develop in your yard, you may want to consider a chemical means to preventing or curing fungus issues. This brings us to tip number 5, and that is to consider using fungicides. There are many different fungicides on the market for turf care, and they all have different modes of function, but the two most popular active ingredients are propiconazole and azoxystrobin. Some may be familiar with the brand name Banner Max. That contains the active ingredient propiconazole, and is considered a Group 3 fungicide. Azoxystrobin is an active ingredient in what most of you may know as Scott's Disease X. Azoxystrobin is a Group 11 fungicide. When using fungicides, it's important to know that your turf can develop resistance when making repeated applications with the same group fungicide. So if you do decide to use fungicides, make sure you are following the label instructions and develop a plan to alternate between different fungicides to prevent the turf from developing a resistance to it. And there you have it. I hope this video was helpful for you. Here are some additional videos that you may be interested in. Make sure you go check them out. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for joining.